higher ed is our market. Well, that was a long road to arrive at that. And we went through a lot of cycles. Our first iteration as a company was Drupal. We found Drupal. It was technology based. Like, we will do anything Drupal, right? Drupal was this big market. You got Drupal, we do Drupal, 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 Drupal. And then that started to change a little bit because a lot of companies showed up. A lot of people were doing Drupal. And then Drupal leveled off a little bit. And that wasn't really much of a differentiator anymore. And then, so we had to start to specialize, and we became a media company. We did Drupal and media and also higher education and a little bit of nonprofits, because that's the portfolio that we had built up to that point. And we knew media well because we started as a publishing company. So we had that background, and we could say that we did higher education really well because I used to work in higher education. Half the people at the company used to work in higher education. And nonprofits, like, well, we'd always worked with nonprofits. So that was the portfolio that we had. And that was like the middle period of Four Kitchens that was just a messaging mess. It was like Drupal and a bunch of verticals, and like, I don't know, we just have this big portfolio that's just a big pile of stuff. And like, oh, what do you do? Yeah, we could do that. What do you do? Maybe not. Yeah, but that looks good. It just didn't make sense. And we coasted on that for a really long time. Too long. It got us in trouble. And we waited too long to commit to a differentiated stance. And so when we did a big rebrand, when we rethought everything except our name and our primary color green, like the logo changed, our messaging changed, everything, we made a big shift to say, all right, we work with mission-driven organizations. And the reason behind that was we had recently acquired a company called Advomatic that had a large nonprofit portfolio. And we were in the works of acquiring an agency in Costa Rica to expand our talent pool into Costa Rica. And they had a strong mission-driven ethos. Also, Drupal is open source. That's built into what we do. That's a whole vibe. Now, the mistake that we made, or maybe what we didn't fully understand, is we thought that by saying mission-driven, we were building a tent that included open source and higher ed. We thought that by saying mission-driven, we were including both of those. We were wrong. Higher ed does not consider itself to be included in the messaging mission-driven. And that is something that we learned the hard way. Higher ed considers itself to be a different thing. They just don't, like, mission-driven is not a phrase that they identify with. Higher education identifies with education. And education and mission-driven are like, cool, that's great if they coexist. Like, yeah, there's like, they're cousins, but they're not the same. They're not circles in event. They're not overlapping circles in event. So about a year after that, we realized, oops, that was a little bit of a slip up in our messaging. Let's take a really like sober look at our portfolio and what we want to do and what's real about our client base. The vast majority of our revenue, higher ed. So we decided that we have to it's been a year. Let's rethink our messaging. We did this whole big rebrand. It's time to just look at it with fresh eyes. We dropped the mission-driven thing and we replaced it with very clear higher education. So if you go to the homepage on our website, it's totally clear that what we do is, and I'll read it to you, AI content management and web platforms for higher ed. That's what we do. Now, we still work with nonprofits. We still work with a couple of media companies. We still work with a couple of corporations. But higher ed is really what we do. They're like 90% of our revenue.